All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 3. It's all tied up. First game, GMU dominated when they won the last team fight of the game, secured Baron, and walked it in for a nice victory after a hard-fought game. Austin comes out exploding in game number 2 and just walks that snowball straight in for a victory as well, tying us up 1-1. As we're going to get some nice bans coming out for game number 3. Sits Drake, how are you feeling?
Well, I didn't have time to do what I wanted to do during the break, so I'm a little disappointed if I had to be honest. But sometimes the world works out like that. Now, we do see a Vladimir ban come out. That makes me really happy.
And we see an got picked up by Railgun. What an awesome champion to be paired with that name. Most likely for the top lane. Urgot can be played in the mid lane, though very unlikely. I don't think I've ever seen it jungle. But a very strong champion. I believe we're on the 9.6 patch where he has been buffed pretty darn hard and slipping through that ban phase. He's going to be that first pick. As the side of GMU, they're going to go ahead and lock in Xayah for themselves. I'm interested in seeing if they're going to pair the Rakan right now or if they actually allow Austin to go ahead and grab that Rakan, because when you see the enemy team pick Xayah, you really want to take the Rakan option away. Firefly is still waiting this down, and he is going to lock in the Rakan, so that lovers duo will trade hands and go over to the side of GMU this game.
So GMU, they're really liking this. They like the Xayah Rakan. I like the Rakan portion, so I guess I can't complain too much, right?
Well, it was actually Austin that had the Xayah Rakan last game.
Was it?
Yeah, so the Requiem, and thank you for the win. Yep, so what happens in the playoffs best of 5 is that the team that loses gets to choose which side they want to play on, and obviously GMU decided they still wanted to stick with that red side. This time, though, they take away the Xayah Rakan, and Morgana going to be locked in. Is it going to be the Caitlyn? If they, for the side of UT Austin, go back to the Caitlyn Morgana, that would be really impressive and shows that they just love those champions. As Lissandra comes in for the mid lane, Poopsters, he's on his 3rd different champion. He said Talon number 1, game number 2 went Silas as it was banned away. He's now going to be going with the Lissandra, and we look at a Hecarim picked up for GMU's jungle.
Now, I told you that I think Hecarim is a good counter pick. That's where my beliefs on Hecarim kind of end.
Right.
I don't think he's reliable in-gauge. I feel like he has the same problem that Vi has, especially in 5v5 team play, which is that he has a lot of in and no out. Maybe they'll pick themselves poorly into the Hecarim. That does happen.
Yeah, you just have to pick a really terrible champion, and I just don't look at the enemy team's draft. Pick what you want, and maybe that'll happen, though doubtful. There is that Caitlyn ban from the side of GMU, making sure that it doesn't get paired with Morgana, but you have to assume that UT Austin kind of had this in mind when they went with Lissandra in the mid lane, so instead they're going to have some other ADC. I'm thinking that a Sivir would be pretty nice, because when you got double spell shields against a Hecarim, there's not much that Hecarim can do. And Rek'Sai, that last jungle, double jungle bans from Austin, making sure to pinch that pool, despite the fact that Hecarim was locked in. I suppose he could be played in the top lane, but that is a very interesting choice.
It's the top lane Hecarim, they knew.
Oh! The 10,000 IQ, here we go. It's going to be Hecarim in the top lane. Elise jungle. I still think, though, that Elise is a pretty nice pick. They're kind of suffering on the AP damage at the moment. I know that Elise can do a pretty good amount of damage, but it's not always heavily sustainable. So we're still looking for Anime Lover in the mid lane. What is he going to grab? And he's a very good mid laner, very good AP player. So we'll have to see what he's comfortable on enough to counter pick this Lissandra, as the Jarvan and the Sivir are the last 2 locked in for Austin.
Yeah, it's almost like you predicted this, right? The draft seemed pretty cut and clean. I think Jarvan's always a good pickup. Even more so when you're into the likes of Hecarim and Xayah, because Xayah actually can't ultimate out of the Cataclysm.
And what is it? Wait. Wait a
Poppy's
minute.
A good answer. Not the best answer, but it's a good one. This will be able to stop the Urgot and the Jarvan with the W on Poppy, and Poppy, I think, actually wins lane against Urgot.
Is this a mid lane Hecarim?
Yeah. He's already got Teleport Ignite. He's prepped for it, dude. This is his answer to Lissandra.
Analysts everywhere, put your fingers together and chew on this one. Hecarim in the mid lane against the Lissandra. It's going to take me a little bit to wrap my brain around that one as the compositions are finalized between these two teams. And as you look at them, if you got any thoughts, feel free to share it. There's already a good discussion breaking out in the Twitch chat. When I'm looking at the compositions, I mean, obviously that Hecarim is something that stands out. It's melee into Lissandra. Good engage, but not exactly the tankiest champion. I guess Anime Lover's just relying very heavily on the fear to do much of anything because, I don't know. Talk to me. Sit straight. Give it to me. Hecarim in the mid lane versus Lissandra.
Yeah, so if we're trying to understand this matchup from a practical standpoint, I think we have to first think about, once again, what every champion kind of does, right? And the big deficit to Lissandra is that with her E, she either gets out or she goes in. And once she's chosen either of those options, I think she's in a pretty poor position. Now, one of the reasons why I think this may not be the strongest matchup is because Hecarim actually, if he's slowed by the Lissandra Qs, will end up in a much weaker position than he ever should be, right? Because he scales off of movement speed. And as we all know, all of Lissandra's abilities slow. So the way that I see the matchup kind of working out, it's that level 1 Lissandra should very, very heavily dominate. We'll see a level 2 all-in out of the Hecarim, using that Ignite, we can imagine, trying to beat out the advantage. But Lissandra, if she beats him to level 2, will have QW up and be able to just, negate that engage altogether. I'm not sure how Hecarim really does dodge the W on Lissandra, unless his E is going to connect anyway, because of the way that it charges.
Mm-hmm.
So that way he's always going to hit, but I don't think that's how the interaction goes. This could be something also that's only playable with lag. And by that I mean when we play in like a tournament setting, right? Riot will give servers that have like somewhere between 1 and 5 ping, say, which is negligible. They're playing at home or playing somewhere between 30 and 40 ping. It can make a big difference. And this is the reason why picks like Ryze are actually so impactful in competitive play and then not impactful when played in solo queue.
Good thing to think about. Well, we've discussed a little bit. I definitely think that perhaps that E from the Hecarim dashing in, despite getting rooted up, as long as he's within range to helicopter his blades around, dropping that Q, might be able to just chunk down the Lissandra anyway. We'll see what Anime Lover can do on that. Definitely a new look for him. We look to the top lane now. Railgun taking the Urgot versus Ion's Poppy. Definitely a defensive Poppy for sure against this Urgot. A little bit in the chat was saying that Urgot's early game pretty terrible, but late game scales to be a monster. And talk about scaling for Austin, the Urgot, the Lissandra, the Sivir, even the Morgana. But man, Poppy into Urgot, unless Poppy gets some good wall slams, I think that Urgot could just play defensively and look for the later game fights when Poppy is more of a CC bot than necessarily a damage-dealing dwarf.
Damage-dealing dwarf, not something that we hear too often. Ugh. So yeah, there's a lot of combo potential. Lissandra Urgot was picked very heavily during the World Cycle. Coupled with the Jarvan, this is still strong. Morgana's been kind of viable the whole time too, so we know she has synergy with them. I think that this is just a classic style pick comp versus a skirmish comp. And when these two do actually meet, it tends to be who picks the fights where they want them. Which is kind of interesting, right? Because both compositions want to fight in very specific areas. The pick comp wants to fight around vision, specifically their vision and lack of enemy vision, which means they want to be fighting around new areas pretty constantly. While the skirmish team just wants to kind of run into these sharp, closed corridors.
None will question
and dominate
us.
with the likes of Lissandra not Lissandra, with the likes of Xayah and Hecarim.
Well, let's see if they can make that happen. Some nice skins coming out. If you had to pick a winner, we haven't done this yet, but it's something we do a little bit on the XLNC channel when looking at team comps. If you had to pick a winner for this game just based off of the composition and the bit you know about these players so far in the series, who would it be and why?
So if I had to pick a winner for this one, it's probably going to end up being, at least in my opinion again, right? It's got to be UT Austin. I just think that they've drafted a pick comp and that they've laid down vision consistently throughout the games. We've seen them lay it deep. We've seen them lay it short, which means that they're at least choosing where they lay their vision. That's incredible. Also, shouts out to Pekadar. I'm actually not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right, but that's my boy out there. He's a bronze, silver, gold top laner who I swear we're going to see in one of these games one day. Man's an absolute god.
I've actually casted him in the Georgia High School Championship finals, so I had the honor of casting him playing in that top lane. I believe his name is pronounced Pekadar, but a really, really good player. Hopefully we'll get him in here one of these days as well. Also, a quick hi, even though we'll be, 2 minutes late to Kashuna, who played last Saturday in that series. Fantastic ADC as well. 5-point vision, defensive start. But I do want to welcome everyone to this game number 3 between UT Austin and George Mason University. If you're supporting a team out there, drop that hashtag GMU win, hashtag UT Austin win. Let us know who you think is going to take this game. It's going to be another slow, slightly boring start to this one. Not the end of the world. And Travesty, holy moly, coming in with the 32-man raid. Greatly, greatly appreciate that, Travesty. Looking like everyone's just going to be starting off on the safer route. Everyone run to lane, except Lysandra, who's kind of running into the top lane jungle area. Okay. Interesting stuff. Let's see how this Hecarim in the mid lane works out.
Yeah, so like I said, level 1, this is heavily in Lysandra's favor, but Hecarim actually goes and splices the wave and decides to get a fast shove. The likes of Adopo would be crying right now. He actually said that if he ever goes into a laner who auto-attacks the minion first, he knows he's already won lane. One of my favorite players.
Rakan maybe trying to make an engage on that bottom side. Requiem getting poked out just a little bit. But yeah, again, this is the advantage from UT Austin's bottom lane. They've had a dominant game 1 and game 2, even though they did lose game 1. Let's see if they can make that happen again this game, as Enrique is going to be dropped under health, or under half health. Morgana, Defiled Soil, just hurting that Xayah so much.
No. Oof. Rakan cancels that auto there. That actually feels pretty bad. Jarvan's decided.
Oh, hold on. Dark Binding. Pleasant Defiled Soul. Enrique's gone. First blood to Requiem. Are you kidding me? Can Austin's bottom lane do any wrong in the mid lane? Pooper's going to go ahead and throw down that W, as you talked about. Nice route onto Anime Lover. And so the Hecarim in trouble already. But he really needs to get those levels and, again, make something happen when he hits level 6. Otherwise, he's just going to be an int champion in that mid lane.
Yeah, and his roams aren't actually going to be that potent. I mean, he has elected to go phase rush, which means he can run through the river, presumably has water walking, but even with water walking. Oh, it looks like Celsius is going to try to take this scuttle, but actually gets picked out.
Oh, Firefly steals it away with a nice smite, and now Celsius is fighting. He's got the double buffs. He's looking for the EQ combo, the flag and drag for the knockup, but he misses it as a nice repel from the Elise gets her out of harm's way.
Now, the assist pings do come out. When you're getting assist pings in 5v5, that means someone plays way too much solo here.
In that mid lane, I'm getting a little bit of knockback, but he's got low mana. He's going to have to run. Celsius is here. The Lysandra E-Claw brings her straight into the Hecarim. They've just got a couple more autos to take him down. Celsius waiting on those cooldowns for flag and drag. Flag, drag, auto is the kill. And that is going to lead a 2-0 for Austin at the beginning of this game.
Yep, and just as we can imagine, the Hecarim pick doesn't exactly pan out like he had planned it. He does have teleport, so he'll get back to lane pretty quickly. Almost wish he had flash there.
So, 1,000 gold lead for the moment for Austin. This is what they're good at, though. This is what we've come to expect from them. I really want to see them continue to push this lead further and further. Top lane's kind of been an island. Urgot left alone. Gold minions fairly even between those two. Keep an eye on what they decide to build, as it's a defensive start from the Poppy. Going that Relic Shield. Not looking to fight too much, just looking to farm and heal, and then build up for maybe later team fight opportunities, which is what George Mason University is so good at when it comes to that mid game.
Yeah, I mean, They've shown it in both these games, right? They farm poorly in the early game, and somehow late game they're still viable. It's kind of terrifying. I'd really like to actually sit down and talk to these players sometime, figure out how. Because when you look again, they're down 10 CS in the mid and bot lane.
Oh, that Hecarim losing a lot of health in that mid lane. Gonna get a couple more Qs down onto Poopsters. Charging, and I don't think he's gonna go for underneath the turret though. The claw even started by Lysandra just in prep, but not taken. Keep in mind though, this is an Infernal Drake at the beginning of the game, so either team, if they find an advantage, will probably be trying to rush that down. And especially as we talked about in the picks and bans, the scaling for the side of Austin, if they grab that Infernal, it's going to be a pretty good game for them, as they've already started off well. CS leads in every single lane besides the jungle, which I suppose doesn't count when it comes to laning phase. Maybe Elise can be a carrying force for GMU.
Well, especially because a lot of the Jarvan's advantage so it's been lost is the advantage that we actually see manifested in Lysandra mid lane.
So J4...
Elise is coming.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's it. Elise is coming.
Oh, there you go. At least coming into that mid lane. But again, Lysandra's going to take the claw to get out. Not really concerned about it. And that's the defensiveness that Lysandra has. Now, she doesn't have TP. She's going to have to recall here. She just doesn't have the mana to really do much. But there's no real pressure on her. She can just walk back to lane. The Hecarim's headed into the jungle. May join Elise and try to take the Infernal, or looking for a play on the bottom side. But a nice early ward from the Morgana and Sivir. Make sure that they've got plenty of vision in case anyone comes strolling down.
Now, if we're looking at what these junglers are doing really quickly, Jarvan has actually just been overextending and kind of playing around with the vision a bit. And Iona is, or Ian? I should not trying that name all game, man, and shots to me. But now Celsius actually, I think he's just wasting his time here.
Oh, Firefly gonna leap in immediately, looking for the damage. J4 gonna be in trouble. He's trying to walk away, get a little bit of damage before he goes down. Hecarim able to pick that up. First kill over to GMU. Lysandra showed up, said hi, and then had to walk away. Back to the mid lane she goes, but she's carved a nice 10 gold lead and is going to be clearing up that wave as well.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. He actually didn't have any vision in the jungle and decided to set up a pick there. It just felt like a waste of time.
The boomerang from this Sivir, so much damage. Drops the Xayah so incredibly low. Lysandra's around the corner, but I don't think they have vision on her. In the meantime, a small fight on that top side drops Ione to about half. But yeah, Xayah is playing on a knife's edge here. Has heal up. I think that's the only reason why the Xayah is still around. But Poopsters is around the corner waiting for an opportunity. Nice spell shield. Stops the Rakan from going in. Hecarim's here, but he's been rooted up. And ulted by Lysandra as well. Ryla's trying to back away. Enrique goes down despite the heal. Everyone's falling on the side of GMU. And it's a double kill for Lysandra. Even thank you for the win gets out after taking the turret for the entire time. They're going to get more plates. They're going to get more gold. And they already are off to an incredible lead at the 8-minute mark.
That was the exact fight that they wanted there. And they just found it, fought it out their way. And like you said, I mean, thank you for the win getting out is the bonus of the fight.
And really, Anime Lover on this Hecarim, obviously whatever he had planned is not working out. Came to the bottom lane, tried to get his own ult in, but he just got ulted by Lysandra. The Glacial Tomb just basically says, hey, you're looking for a fight, but I'm just going to stop you in place. We're going to kill you off, and then we're going to turn and kill all your compatriots as well. Infernal Drake was started by Austin, but it might be completed by GMU as they've collected around it. They got 3 members here. Hecarim around the corner as well, looking for maybe a jump onto Celsius. What does GMU want? They're so far behind, they got to do something. J4's got vision on the Infernal. They know it's happening. The TP coming in from the Urgot. The fight's going to be started. Firefly's low. The flash forward. J4 gets the Infernal Drake as well. He's taking everything. A double kill. And now they're going to be burning down the Xayah as well. 3 kills. Infernal Drake. A 4,000 gold lead. UT Austin, they had trouble game 1. They strongly came back game 2. And now game 3, they are smurfing.
Yeah, they have just been getting better and better as these series kind of progress. And that's something that we just can't say about George Mason, right? At no point do I feel like that they've actually just kind of embodied that same mentality of constant improvement. And that's not to say they haven't improved. That's to say that we haven't seen what we've seen right now come out of UT Austin. UT Austin is on a mission. It's every single member taking turns with the CS leads, taking turns carrying, popping off, all impacting their lanes. Well, with all this hype, let's see if Railgun gets picked off.
Looks like Urgot may be locked up here, so they finally get a little bit back. Nice cocoon from Firefly and Anime Lover paired up. They finally have enough damage and CC, but keep in mind that Urgot was already down his flash and everything else, so it's kind of like the last little pickings that you get at the end of the scraps off of the dinner table. How about that?
Yeah, but eventually we're all going to get tired of the scraps, and that's how you end up getting caught out, honestly.
Thank you for the win, finding a nice Dark Binding onto the Elise. They say the scraps are fighting back as Firefly gets the Blast Cone, hopping away, and the Flash as well. Lissandra's around the corner, though. He doesn't need to take the claw because the Silver Boomerang's gonna secure a nice Spiderling for themselves. Anime Lover's got a speed boost, should be able to get out. Celsius just in range for the EQ, can't find the knockup, but he's got enough auto for the slow with that red buff. Still, though, the Hecarim able to run away on all four legs.
Yeah, the pony is fast. No one can ever take that away from him.
Rylas, oh my gosh, look at that damage. Hold on, how did Urgot snipe the Hecarim down? Are you kidding me? Walks into lane, throws out the ult, catches Hecarim while recalling, and just drags him into the jaws. And now in the top lane, looks like dinner is being served up. Rylas and Enrique, what do they got? They got a knock-up, and they got knocked down immediately. 2 more kills going over to UT Austin. They are in complete control of this game. 7,000 gold up. Let's just put this one in the books because, I mean, George Mason, can you do anything to turn this one around?
Yeah, it's beginning to feel like a GG next, and it's not that there's nothing that they can do, it's just that anything that they can do ends up pretty moot. So first we want to ask ourselves, does George Mason outscale if this game ends up going to 40 minutes right now? Like, do they win that team fight in 40 minutes? And the answer is just honestly probably not. I'm not sure how they overcome that. The answer is dragons, but without the early game lead, they're not going to be able to get a substantial enough dragon lead to manifest a late game advantage.
The Rift Herald started up by the side of UT Austin. They're going to chase in. Nice knockback by the pop. He keeps Urgot from going in. The Rift Herald still secured, though. J4 going to go ahead and grab that for his team. This time, though, George Mason, they had a game like this, Game 4, last Saturday, in which they actually did surrender. This time around, they're going to keep trying to fight it out. Anime Lover decides to go for the split push route, clearing plates off that bottom lane turret. That's a crazy thing. It feels like we're in the team fighting stage. It feels like we're at 25 minutes in. We're only at 12 minutes in. We still got a minute and a half before these plates actually fall off.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it feels later. It feels a lot later. Now, I'm kind of curious to see what their macro decision is from this point, because the only thing that they really have their eyes on is his mid-turret. But still, you need to uphold lane assignments, or else you're going to end up giving advantages away to your opponents for free.
I also want to see where Celsius on this J4 drops the Rift Herald. He's hanging out in the mid lane. Going to be pinged out. There's the engage, though, from the Recon. He doesn't get anyone with the quickness, though. So now thank you for the win. Going to be able to chase in. Anime Lover ults away. Wrong direction if you're wanting to actually fight something. Ione dropping Celsius low, but can't chase that one down. Now J4 is going to look to maybe turn around. Requiem's showing up untouched that entire fight. And Austin is just making this game look easy. Requiem might even 1v2 at this point. Ult from Railgun, gonna fly away. Not really do anything. Ione gonna walk between. Rift Herald's been spawned into the mid lane, so Shelly should be able to just walk that down to the turret, but she's a little busy on the minions for the moment. Firefly doing what he can. Zaya's rooted up, throws out the ultimate, flashes away, and now Enrique gonna be in trouble because Lissandra's coming to the backline. Ults herself, tears through the entire backline. Rylas finally drops. Celsius gets the auto attack down. They take out Elise and Zaya on top of it all. The first turret gonna drop in the mid lane, but Austin stacking up those turrets, making it 3-0, and now Shelly can slam in onto the second tier turret as Anime Lover trying to make one desperate play onto Requiem, but Hecarim's just stared up. He's got nothing, and this Sivir goes 6-0.
Yeah, that's wow. So I think the best thing that we can say is that Requiem deserves MVP just for his footwork in that 2v1. That was magnificent.
Well, you'd think when you're facing against even just the Elise alone, against a Sivir, who's already used Spell Shield, that should be it. Elise is going to cocoon, then she's going to burst, and then that Sivir's going to be dead. It's pretty simple. But at this point in the game, even though we're only 14 minutes in between Requiem's movement and being an entire item above everyone on the enemy team, I mean, Sivir is looking incredibly strong, and this game is a 10,000 gold lead for UT at this point, and we're only 15 minutes in.
Okay, so let's look at this from another angle. How do they win a team fight with the given situation if you're George Mason? So it's a pick. It's not on the Firefly, no. The pick that I think we need to make is on Requiem.
Good luck picking Requiem when he's got his own spell shield. Plus, we're got a spell shield. There it is, the FF coming out from George Mason.
Oh my god, they actually GG went next. Oh, this feels so bad.
They did it
over to a break out of respect for them, because like when a team surrenders, I feel like you have to just leave it at that.
You just call it quits. Well, we'll have just a hair to talk about this for a moment. Last Saturday, game number 4, they did this exact same thing. They lost so hard in the early game, they just went ahead, surrendered, said it's not worth it to keep playing. But that said, they did come back a lot better in game 5. Now, they almost lost. It was a hair to lose, but they did come back and actually win. And one of the things that a surrender can sometimes do is give your team a little bit of a breather, where you're kind of like, you know what, that didn't happen. We're surrendering it. We're just calling it quits. We're just throwing the whole thing out the window. Breathe. None of that happened. We're going to take a breath. Maybe when we come back for game 4, we'll be better prepared. You said MVP, Requiem, this game. Amazing job. 707. I'm sure it would have gone even higher if the game had actually been drawn out all the way to a victory. Also want to give a shout out to Celsius for playing a fantastic J4. Great Cataclysms and great pairing with the rest of the team. Look at that KP. Just 11 kills and assists combined. That is just nuts. Also, this Morgana, 1-0-13. We saw it in game number 1, game number 3, just as dominating. Anything you want to throw out before we go to break?
No, I'm speechless. I absolutely hate to see teams surrender. I just, yeah, as a coach, as a competitor,
it just hurts.
I really like it.
All right, well, we'll be back for game number 4 at this point. Coming up in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Maybe George Mason University figures it out while we're on break. We'll be right back.
Muted.